Fear closes doors while curiosity opens windows, and in that opening lies the possibility of discovering who you're truly meant to become. And that is the thought for today. Welcome to 7 Good Minutes. I'm Clyde Lee Dennis. Thanks for joining me for what I believe will be 7 of the most enriching minutes of your day. In today's episode of 7 Good Minutes, we talk about transforming fear into curiosity and a powerful mindset shift. Enjoy. There's a moment that happens when fear shows up in your life. A split second where you have a choice. You can let fear close you down, make you smaller, send you running in the opposite direction. Or you can do something that might seem impossible in that moment. You can get curious about it. This simple shift from fear to curiosity isn't just a nice idea. It's a profound transformation that can change how you navigate uncertainty, challenge, and growth. By the end of this episode, you'll understand how curiosity can transform your relationship with fear and discover practical ways to make this shift when you need it most, turning what feels like a threat into an opportunity for discovery. Fear is one of our most primal emotions, designed to keep us safe from danger. But in our modern world, most of the fears we experience aren't about immediate physical threats. They're about uncertainty, rejection, failure, or the unknown. And while these fears might not threaten our physical survival, they can certainly limit our emotional and spiritual growth. The problem with fear is that it narrows our perspective. When we're afraid, our focus becomes laser sharp on what might go wrong. Our minds start spinning stories about worst-case scenarios. Our bodies tense up, preparing for fight or flight. In this state, we lose access to our creativity, our wisdom, and our ability to see possibilities. Curiosity works in the opposite way. Where fear contracts, curiosity expands. Where fear assumes the worst, curiosity wonders what might be possible. Where fear says, "I can't," curiosity asks, "What if I could?" This isn't about being naive or ignoring real risks. It's about approaching the unknown with openness rather than defensiveness. Think about a child encountering something new. Their first instinct isn't usually fear, it's curiosity. They want to touch, explore, understand. They ask questions. They experiment. They approach the unknown as an adventure rather than a threat. Somewhere along the way, many of us lose this natural curiosity and replace it with caution and fear. But curiosity is still available to you. It's not something you've lost forever. It's a choice you can make, even in the presence of fear. The key is recognizing that fear and curiosity can coexist. You don't have to eliminate fear to access curiosity. You can be afraid and curious at the same time. When fear shows up, instead of immediately trying to push it away or let it overwhelm you, you can pause and ask, what is this fear trying to tell me? What am I afraid of exactly? What would happen if I got curious about this situation instead of just afraid? This shift often reveals that our fears are based on assumptions rather than facts. We're afraid of what we think might happen, not what is actually happening. Curiosity helps us examine these assumptions. It asks, is this assumption true? What evidence do I have? What other possibilities exist? For example, if you're afraid of starting a new project because you might fail, curiosity asks, what would failure actually look like? What could I learn from it? What if this project taught me something valuable regardless of the outcome? What if my definition of success is too narrow? Curiosity also helps us approach fear with compassion rather than judgment. Instead of berating yourself for being afraid, you can get curious about your fear. This is interesting. I'm feeling afraid right now. I wonder what this fear is trying to protect me from. I wonder what I need to feel safer. This compassionate curiosity creates space around your fear. It doesn't eliminate the fear, but it prevents the fear from consuming you. You become the observer of your fear rather than its victim. And from this place of observation, you have more choices about how to respond. Sometimes curiosity reveals that your fear is pointing towards something important. Maybe you're afraid because you care deeply about the outcome. Maybe you're afraid because you're about to do something that matters to you. In these cases, fear can actually be a compass, pointing you toward what's meaningful. Other times, Curiosity helps you realize that your fear is based on old patterns or stories that no longer serve you. Maybe you're afraid of speaking up because you learned as a child that it wasn't safe to have opinions. Curiosity can help you examine whether this old story is still relevant to your current situation. The practice of transforming fear into curiosity starts small. The next time you notice fear arising, take a breath and ask yourself one curious question. Not a question designed to eliminate the fear, but a question designed to understand it better. What am I really afraid of here? What would I do if I weren't afraid? What might I discover if I moved forward despite this fear? You don't have to become fearless. You just have to become curious about your fear. And in that curiosity, you'll often find the courage to take the next step, to try something new, to grow in ways you never thought possible. That does it for today's episode of 7 Good Minutes. Please take a moment to rate and review the show on the platform you're listening on. Until next time, let's be civil to one another out there. Thanks for listening.